Okay, today I want to discuss how a phone app can essentially help save your eyes and stop you really getting headaches and things like that. So for anyone that does suffer from headaches and they work on their PC like for too long, and they're looking at this screen for too long, and they never really knew what to do with their color settings and everything like that, I think this app can really help. Now, normally I have my screen in dark mode, but I'm definitely doing this for a reason. I'm not on my main PC now, but I have been using many websites with turning off my dark modes and things like that, because I now have my TV set up correctly, or my monitor downstairs, sorry, for work. And it's just one of those things, you know. The job that I do pretty much requires me to be at my PC for most of the day. Then at night times I'll watch a movie, and then after the movie, like, I'll probably game on my PC as well. So I'm constantly looking at this screen, and occasionally I'd suffer from headaches. So once I found this app, I thought, well, I have to calibrate or at least look at my monitors, my brother's monitor next to me, and my monitor as well, just to see what's actually going on. And we was wildly out of whack. I think it was 8,000 nits that I was measuring. Not 8,000 nits, 8,000 Kelvin. The measurement was. So how bright this screen was just too much. So the app is here. It's called White Balance Kelvin Meter. I'll leave a link for this in the description. So what did I do? Essentially, this is a picture of the app, and I got my color temperature white balance for a 100% white screen. It's 6450 Kelvin. I was aiming for 65, and the day I measured this I got 65, but you know, with a phone restart, with the monitor's been on now, 5 hours or so, maybe there's a different reading here, but being under is fine as well. It will save your eyes, because the big killer here is blue. If you're having a cold image, it's not good for your eyes. Blue light is just not good for the eyes at all. I'm not sure if it helps different technologies like LCD, OLED, QD OLED, which one's better. Not really too sure about that. But a lot of these monitors now, they don't have you can't visually see that there's a flicker. Back in the old days with CRT, there used to be a flicker, and you could even see it. So in that respect, it's certainly not as bad as it was back in the old days, but the amount of blue light that these TVs can actually pump out is now significant. So next screenshot here. So this is just a screenshot of me, 100% white screen. You can use a 10% window pattern as well from, say, the Spears and MUNSIL disc. Anything really. We're measuring the middle of the screen. The middle of the screen is the most consistent. It will be the highest output possible. The edges of the screen here will not be as white as the middle. So everything seems, especially on different technologies, LCD seems to get worse as the edges go on. Then OLED is better, but it's still not like perfect. QD OLED is really getting much better for screen uniformity and things like that, but generally speaking, again, the whitest part of your screen, the cleanest and most powerful, will be in the center anyway. That's why that is really why you measure in the center of your screen. So yeah, I measured the center of the screen. I measured 6500 Kelvin, and again, with certain power changes and things like that through the day or the next day, you could measure 6450 like I was, So next image. So these are this is just a quick idea as well about the settings that I was using. They have a normal mode, a blue mode, a red mode. So I went into the user mode. Now this monitor is a gaming monitor, but it doesn't have a two-step, right? So you can't adjust the low end and the high end at the same time. There isn't a 10-step grayscale that we can do, but we have controls for red, green and blue, which is honestly perfect. So now how I gained significant balance here with this is putting in these numbers. Blue I only had to lower by 5. Green down to 84, and red down to 78, and that gave me essentially a perfect balance of this. And I was aiming for what I would call 2% green, because if you get to 0 here, to my eyes it looks rosy, magenta rosy color. And I think around 0.2 on the green, 1 to 2 is, well, anywhere from 1 to 3. But if you go heavy into the 3, you can notice green. If your reading here is like clipping between 0.3 and 0.2, that's probably about the best point. But some displays you just have to do the best you can, you know. So yeah. That was it. That was me measuring. This is really, I guess you call it a one-step, right? You can only just control the amount of blue, green, and red. Now, it is showing here that blue is still the most active color, but it's measuring around 6500 Kelvin. It's much less bright than it used to be. Another thing you can, even though I don't go into this, I didn't take a screenshot, when you go into contrast, the amount of contrast also controls the Kelvin as well. Like if right now on this monitor I set the contrast to 35, if I went to 50, the Kelvin rises up with it. So that's another thing you can control. You can set your balance here, and you can use the contrast control as well, which I actually felt was quite good doing that. So any benefits? Yes, the first day I did this, I stopped getting headaches. Right. Now I don't suffer from headaches all the time, but those days where you're just at the you're at the screen the entire day. Different amounts of stress, I guess you could say, as well, potentially could be getting in the way. But the day I did this was the day I stopped getting headaches, and I could look at my screen for longer. I felt the need as well, hey, I don't need dark mode on my monitor anymore. You know, even a full screen white screen, like I was testing with here, it didn't have that glary nature to it anymore. Now, in theory, you could, if you wanted to, you could go down further, right? You could go down to 6000 Kelvin, right? Take even more blue out of this image. You can do that. It just depends. As long as you can work with it, then it's fine. In some cases, for me, like just saying lowering the contrast. Lowering, say, contrast too much, it gets to that point now where you're actually struggling to see, right? And that potentially even could put strain on your eyes as well. You just want an image that you can see on your screen, and you can look at it and it does not strain the eyes or anything like that, in my opinion. So this monitor was actually really nice to calibrate. It was literally a 10-minute job, because I only had essentially a one-step here, and a mix of contrast. The brightness on this is it's not what you think. It's just it needs to be maxed out. Otherwise, it crushes everything if you go too low. So for me, the brightness was at 100, the contrast was at 35. The gamma on this monitor I maxed out, because if I go any lower, it just looks crushed and too dark. So but yeah, I would try and get either a contrast or download a contrast pattern or anything like that to try and get that correct, or just use the app to get the contrast within a nice range and get this RGB balance correct. So yeah, really helped. And I'm going to leave a link in the description for this app because it really is a lifesaver. It's just, you know, it's really not good when you're getting headaches every single day or once or even twice a week from just because you're looking at a monitor all of the time and it's incorrectly set up. So for me, 6500 Kelvin around there is the minimum, right? That is what all of the monitors, even your work monitor, you know, let's just say you had a work monitor and you had options to change this, bring your phone in, test it and see what it is. You know, if you're looking at your monitor the whole day, it needs to be set up to a point where, number one, you can work with it, and number two, by the end of the day, it's not giving you eye strain or headaches. So yeah, I think that's all I want to say. Yeah. If you have any questions about this, about the app, about how to calibrate the TV or monitor or anything like that, what controls you have, or have you done this already where, you know, my first initial use for this app was, hey, let's test my OLED to see how accurate it is. And it's actually very accurate. The grayscale is basically perfect from the bottom to the top. And I've been calibrating other TVs in my house, and I didn't really know how to calibrate this TV with only one, you know, one step apparently, with just the RGB, but really it calibrated really fine. So now, just some real quick tips as well is I'm not sure whether the contrast essentially matters too much. But it could be like a play of contrast and RGB colors, bringing it down into that Kelvin range. Because one thing as well is contrast and these, the saturation of these colors is both bringing it down to the 6500 Kelvin. So yeah, maybe there's different ways of getting there, like you could potentially lower the contrast a bit more, but then maybe these would have to go up to counter that. But yeah, it really did. It calibrated really nicely. I can look at white screens now and it doesn't strain my eyes. There's other apps though you can, or extensions you can use on browsers and things to lower the amount of white light. Because look, like this screen, right? And you know, my website and websites do use 100% white on most of the page, right? Even on a calibrated display, you know, you are looking at this all day. So, you know, turning on a dark mode, especially at night, right? At night, I put all my PCs into dark mode. I switch this extension on, and I go into you know, dark mode. So at night, you really want to be lowering as much blue as possible. Windows actually has a night mode. I think it's a night mode where it lowers the amount of blue as well. Things like that. So there is a lot of things you can do with this to lower the amount of blue on the screen, or white blue, you know, on the screen. But yeah, hope this helps. Definitely check out this app. It's becoming I'm using this now on a daily basis, right? So it's really impressive. It offers a level of accuracy that may not be a professional, you know, as accurate as professional equipment, but it offers enough accuracy to get me to where, hey, I'm not getting headaches on my screen. I can check my TVs for how bright they are, even TVs everywhere in the house, right? You're watching movies. Hey, I only get headaches when I watch movies. Okay, well, check your TV. If it's a good one, I'll say, it should have an 11-point grayscale. You know, you can really get in there now and control this stuff in its most accurate form. How bright is the TV? Are you in the wrong mode? Are you in vivid mode? In vivid mode, you could be leaning toward 9,000 Kelvin, but in the accurate mode, you could be around 5,700 to 6,500. It'd be in that range, at least from what I'm seeing on different TVs. They're around that range. So again, think about this. If you're in the wrong or inaccurate mode on your TV, what is that doing to your eyes? Especially if you watch in a completely dark room. You know, just think about that as well. Yeah, okay, that's enough of me. But yeah, if you're getting headaches, if you're having strain on your eyes, please look into this app. It really is a lifesaver. Most TVs nowadays have the ability to somewhat calibrate the display. Even that gaming monitor downstairs that I use for work, you know, it has the ability to get down to 6,500 Kelvin. I could go even further if I wanted to. So yeah, check this out. And short one from me today. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one, and thanks for watching. Bye.